Hi guys, it is Aoife from Fred VC Died Laughing and I'm here with my weekly wrap up. So I got 3 books read this week and I'm going to tell you all about them right now. So the first book I read this week was Odd and True by Kat Winters, and this is a book I received from Amulet Press, Abrams and Chronicle Books, in exchange for an honest review. And this one's really interesting. This is set in like the early 1900s and it focuses around 2 sisters, Odette and Trudchen, and they kind of go by Odd and True, so that's like the cover of the book, which is really cool, and you can see them there. I actually really love this cover as well. There's something about it that I just really like. I think they just look so badass or something on the cover. And basically growing up, they from the time they were kind of young children, they were taken care of by their aunt, and Odette has kind of told True all these kind of crazy, kind of monstrous fairy tales growing up about their childhood and about how their mother hunts monsters and how they have the ability to hunt monsters as well. And then when she's a teenager, Odd disappears for a little while and she comes back 2 years later and she kind of brings True on this adventure to go and hunt a monster. But Odd seems to be also keeping all these secrets, possibly about her mother and about where she has been for the past 2 years. And True is kind of trying to figure it out, and she's also trying to figure out if everything Odd is saying is true or if Odd is just Odd. And you kind of, it's just like this kind of sisterly adventure, with some flashbacks to Odd's time when she was away from True, and we're kind of, as a reader, we're trying to figure out what is real and what isn't real as well, which is one of the things I really loved about this book. First of all, I really just loved the whole like female friendship in this book. Obviously they are sisters, but they all have a very close bond as well. They're really close to one another, they are best friends, and it's really great to see them like stick by each other. As well, there's not that much romance in this book. This is mainly about just kind of the girls' adventures and the girls' kind of their story, and their kind of about their past and their relationship with their mother as well, which is obviously a bit strained and a bit strange, and that's really the relationships it focuses on, their relationship with their mother and their relationship with each other. And you see kind of some guys like flick in, and there's a small bit of like romance there, but there's not a whole lot. One of the things I love about this book is about halfway through I realised that I hadn't actually seen anything like magical or monstrous or anything, but Odd was telling all these stories, and you know there was all these different things of like, you know, shadows and sounds and stuff like that, and I couldn't figure out. I was like, oh, but like, is Odd saying the truth or is everything she's saying just stories? Like, and as a reader you're trying to figure it out yourself then from that point, once you realise that you actually haven't seen anything magical yourself. And I just thought that was really great. True is also, she had polio when she was younger, so she actually has disability in terms of walking. She needs a cane to walk. One of her legs is shorter than the other because it didn't grow properly because of the polio. So there is disability rep in this as well. There were some things I could definitely guess. About halfway through I guessed a lot of Odd's story and what had happened to her, and I kind of go into some of that in my review, but I don't want to spoil anything now. Obviously there are some things that really made me angry about it, in terms of some information Odd was given by her aunt, or lack of information I would say, about certain things, really annoyed me, but again it's kind of I guess the side of the times in a way as well, that she wouldn't have been told certain things. And I really loved, there's this little bit at the end and I just really loved it. I just thought it was a really nice touch. Obviously I can't say what that is because it would be a spoiler, but I just really enjoyed it and just put a smile on my face, and we kind of, yeah, I really enjoyed this. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is a Neck Alley book, and that was Best Friends Forever by Margot Hunt, and this is kind of I guess it's a bit of a domestic thriller, and it's about this woman who is called Alice, and she's best friends with this other woman called Kat. They've been friends for about 3 or 4 years, and one day the police come knocking at Alice's door because Kat's husband died suddenly, and suddenly she finds herself kind of being interrogated about the death of Kat's husband, and it kind of seems that like there's this weird kind of conspiracy against Alice, that she killed Kat's husband, and it's really strange, and she doesn't really know what to do. She's just this mother of, you know, of 2 kids. She's a stay-at-home mom. Kat is a lot like, she's well off, she's very you know, she has a lot of connections, she's a family comes from a family of money, where Alice doesn't, and Alice suddenly finds herself kind of questioning everything about her friendship with Kat, and if she was ever told the truth by Kat about anything, and if she really kind of knows who her best friend is. So we're kind of going through this with Alice, but her being investigated by the police, and about Kat's husband we're seeing flashbacks to the start of their relationship, different things Kat told Alice about the relationship, and it's really interesting. I really liked it. I thought it was a very fast read. I got through it really quickly, and there was a little bit at the very end that really just did shock me. I just thought it was really interesting. I think some people would probably say, you know, there's a little bit of maybe toxic female friendship rep here, and people might not like that because, you know, some of it seems to be kind of girl on girl hate for a little bit. But at the same time, I think this is kind of true. Not really, like obviously it's like a very, you know, extreme version of toxic relationships in real life, but I think if you've gotten to the stage, say my age now, 26, if you've gotten to 26 and you've never experienced a toxic friendship, you've been very, very lucky. I have experienced a couple in my lifetime, and I know how terrible they are, and I know how easy it is to get sucked into them and how hard it is to break away from them. And I just thought that this was a very interesting look at what it's like to have a female friendship that is quite toxic and poisonous, and you don't really realise it for a very long time. The end of it, as I said, just completely shocked me. I was left a little bit like open mouth. I just thought it was done really, really well. The subtle reveals were done really, really well, and I really enjoyed them, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars as well because I did very much enjoy it. And the next book I read, I literally just finished, and that is Shadow Study by Margot Snyder, which is the 4th book in the Yelena series. So it's like Poison Study, Magic Study, Fire Study, and now there is Shadow Study. But unfortunately, I went into this without reading. There's like a kind of a companion series or companion trilogy called the Glass series, which is in the same world but focuses on a different character. But it turns out that I should have read those 3 first and then read this one, because there is some bits in this one that obviously reference stuff that happened in the Glass trilogy, and I was really annoyed because I actually do own the Glass trilogy. I just decided to read this one first, so I'm going to have to go back and read the others. So if you were thinking about reading Shadow Study, do go and read the Glass trilogy first, which focuses on a character called Opal. So yeah, really enjoyed this. I love being back with Yelena and Valak as always. I really enjoyed this one. It's pretty interesting because in this one Yelena finds herself without her powers for most of the book, so we're really going back to the Yelena we know in the Poison Study series, where she has no magic powers. She really has to rely on just her kind of fighting techniques, her own kind of wit, her own kind of intuition and stuff about things, because she can't use her magic to do everything for her, or to, like, you know, to help protect her. She's quite vulnerable in it. We see her very vulnerable for the first time since maybe the start of Poison Study, and that was very interesting to see. And it was very nice to see as well. It's kind of an unstripped Yelena in a way, a bare Yelena, and without her armor. And I just really liked kind of being in her mindset for that. We also get Valak's point of view in this, which we haven't had before. We get loads of stuff about Valak's background, which I really loved, seeing what he was like, things he did when he was younger, when he was a teenager, which has always kind of been a secret up to this point. I really enjoyed seeing that. And we also get a point of view from Janko, who is one of Yelena's friends and Valak's friends, and he works for Valak. And I really loved, he was just kind of more of almost like a little bit of comedic relief, I guess, comic relief, but his voice was very much like I always thought his voice would be, and I just really enjoyed that. The point of view very much reflected the Janko we have seen in all the other books, kind of funny but serious at some times, but most of the time he's like joking and funny and not that serious. There was a point in this about halfway through where I figured out something about Yelena, and I was just like, oh, it has to be this is definitely why everything is happening to her. And at the very last page I was right. I knew I was right, but I didn't mind guessing because I was really hoping that it would be that thing, and it makes me very, very happy for the characters, because it's something I want for the characters a lot, and I'm very happy that this has happened for them. So yeah, I even though I guessed it, it was a very happy guess for me. So yeah, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Very, very much enjoyed it. Can't wait to read the others, though I am going to go and read the Glass trilogy first. That was my only thing that I went into it, and there was a few characters, there's a few things that were mentioned that I had no idea about, so it did kind of put me off a little bit, but I'd already committed to this book, so I wasn't going to put it down and go and read the trilogy, and I'd already gotten like 5 or 6 chapters into this one, so in my mind I had committed to it and I didn't want to put it down. So I just kind of carried on, was like, well, I'll figure out what has happened, and then I'll go and read the Glass trilogy myself, so I have a full view of the world. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. Really, really enjoyed it. So that is everything I read this week. Please let me know what you guys have read, if you've read any of these books, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye.